In the wild, strength isn't a luxury, it's survival. And few animals embody that brutal truth like the grizzly bear and the Kodiak bear. Massive, fearsome, and terrifyingly powerful, these two titans are among the most formidable land predators alive today. The grizzly, iconic, aggressive, and battle-tested across the mountains and forests of North America. The Kodiak, heavier, more isolated, shaped by the harsh winds and rugged terrain of Alaska's remote islands. They share a common ancestor, a similar build, but not the same story. What happens when nature sculpts two beasts in parallel and then asks which one is stronger? What if these two colossal bears met not as kin, but as rivals? This isn't a fantasy matchup. It's a question rooted in biology, geography, and behavior. And to truly understand who might win in a fight, we have to go deeper than just weight and muscle. We need to look at how they live, how they fight, and what drives them to dominate their environments. So, let's enter the wild and discover what happens when the grizzly and the Kodiak go head-to-head. Are they the same species? The origins. At first glance, the grizzly bear and the Kodiak bear look like two versions of the same nightmare. Shaggy brown fur, rippling muscles, claws like curved daggers, and a posture that can tower over a grown man. It's no surprise, then, that many people assume they're simply two names for the same animal. After all, they both belong to the species Ursus arctos, also known as the brown bear. And technically, they're right. Kodiak bears are a subspecies of the brown bear. Their official name is Ursus arctos middendorfi. Grizzlies, on the other hand, are Ursus arctos horribilis. That scientific label might sound a bit dramatic. Horribilis, but it's oddly fitting. Grizzlies are known for their aggression, their stubbornness, and their willingness to fight when others would flee. They earned that name with their behavior, not just their bulk. But the distinction between them is more than just genetic code. It's a story of isolation. Thousands of years ago, during the last ice age, massive brown bears roamed across much of the northern world. When glaciers retreated and sea levels rose, some of these bears became trapped on the Kodiak archipelago, a rugged chain of islands off the southern coast of Alaska. Separated from the mainland by water and time, these island bears began to evolve along a different path. With no natural predators and a rich seasonal buffet of salmon and vegetation, Kodiak bears grew and grew. Over generations, their bodies adapted to abundance, not scarcity. Unlike their grizzly cousins, who often endure harsh winters and lean seasons, the Kodiaks had the luxury of packing on size and strength. That's why today, Kodiak bears stand as the largest subspecies of brown bear in the world, rivaling even the mighty polar bear in weight and bulk. Mature males can tip the scales at over 1,400 pounds, sometimes even exceeding 1,500. By contrast, a large male grizzly will weigh somewhere between 600 and 850 pounds in the wild, though rare individuals can grow larger. And when we ask which of them would win in a fight, we are not just comparing cousins. We are comparing the paths of isolation and survival, abundance and hardship. Two evolutionary outcomes forged by different lands, different pressures, and different rules. What do they look like? When it comes to raw size, few creatures on land can rival these two apex bears. But not all bulk is built the same. The Kodiak bear is nature's heavyweight. Males can stand over 10 feet tall on their hind legs and weigh between 1,200 to 1,500 pounds in peak condition. Their sheer mass is the result of abundant food and genetic isolation. With shoulders like small boulders and paws the size of dinner plates, they look like something out of ancient myth, slow-moving perhaps, but full of stored power. The grizzly, by contrast, is more compact, but don't mistake that for weakness. Standing up to 8 feet tall and weighing around 600 to 900 pounds, grizzlies are more agile, more aggressive, and arguably more explosive. Their signature hump, a mound of dense muscle between their shoulders, is a clue to their power, used for digging, striking, and charging. Kodiaks are built like tanks. Grizzlies are more like armored sports cars, slightly smaller, but built for raw movement and vicious bursts of speed. One is a brawler, the other a scrapper, both undeniably lethal. Where do they live? The homes of these two titans couldn't be more different, and yet each landscape carved them into what they are today. Kodiak bears live in a realm few humans ever set foot in, the Kodiak archipelago, a cluster of misty islands off the southern coast of Alaska. Isolated for around 12,000 years, these bears evolved without many rivals or threats. Surrounded by icy waters, towering cliffs, and forests dripping with rain, their territory is rich in salmon, berries, and seasonal vegetables. It's a land of abundance where the biggest challenge is getting fat enough to survive the brutal winter, and Kodiaks do that job exceptionally well. Now shift your gaze to the mainland, to the Grizzly's domain, a far more unpredictable battleground. From the Canadian Rockies to the plains of Montana and the dense forests of Wyoming, Grizzlies roam wide territories filled with danger. Food is less reliable, winters are just as cruel, and the competition is fierce. Their world is one of tension and calculation, where survival means staying alert, striking fast, and holding ground. What do they eat? At first glance, grizzlies and Kodiaks look like unstoppable carnivores, but the truth is far more fascinating. Both are omnivores, and their strength lies not just in muscle, but in adaptability. Grizzlies roam vast territories and eat what the land offers: roots, berries, insects, small mammals, and when lucky, larger prey like elk calves. But one of their greatest skills? Fishing. During salmon runs, grizzlies camp by rivers, scooping fish with precision, packing on vital fat before winter. Kodiaks, on the other hand, have access to some of the richest seafood buffets on Earth. Their remote island habitat provides endless salmon, and they feast heavily when the season is right. One Kodiak can eat dozens of fish a day, consuming more than 20,000 calories daily to build mass for hibernation. They'll also eat berries, grass, or scavenge if needed, but whether inland or island-bound, both bears survive by knowing what to eat and when. Their diet isn't just fuel, it's a map of their intelligence and dominance. How do they behave in the wild? To understand what makes these bears tick, you need to look beyond their size and into how they live. Kodiak bears, despite their size, are surprisingly tolerant of one another. On the salmon-rich streams of Kodiak Island, it's not uncommon to see multiple massive bears feeding side by side. They've learned to share, not because they're gentle, but because their environment allows it. Conflict is energy, and when food is everywhere, there's no need to burn it. Grizzlies don't have that luxury. Their world is tougher, their resources scarcer, so they fight, often and hard. Grizzlies are known to be fiercely territorial, quick to challenge intruders, and unpredictable when surprised. This volatility isn't a flaw. It's survival instinct honed in a land where every meal is earned. Kodiaks may show restraint, grizzlies show teeth. This behavioral split tells us something deeper. Kodiaks evolved in a relative paradise where energy conservation is key. Grizzlies came up through struggle, shaped by scarcity, forced to fight not just others, but the land itself. Their temperaments reflect their realities. So when imagining a clash between these giants, it's not just mass that matters, it's mindset. Who would win in a fight? It's the question that looms over every comparison, whispered in forums, debated in documentaries, and burned into the imagination of those who revere raw primal power. What would happen if a grizzly bear faced off against a Kodiak bear? At first glance, it seems like a simple contest of size. Kodiak bears are undeniably larger. Adult males can reach up to 1,500 pounds, with the biggest recorded specimens nearing the 1,700-pound mark. They tower up to 10 feet when standing. Their sheer bulk is intimidating, their claws long and curved, their forearms the size of a man's torso. In a physical brawl, they've an avalanche of muscle and fat built to survive winters and dominate salmon runs. But the grizzly is no underdog. Pound for pound, it may be smaller, averaging between 600 and 900 pounds, but what it lacks in size, it makes up for in something less measurable: aggression. Grizzlies are survivors forged in harsher conditions, where food is scarcer, predators more numerous, and danger more frequent. They don't just fight to dominate, they fight because their lives often depend on it. Their musculature is more defined, their reflexes sharpened by constant threat. Their territory is wild and contested, not isolated and abundant. Grizzlies are known for their explosive charges, for their lightning-fast swipes, and the refusal to back down even when outmatched. So in a hypothetical showdown on neutral ground, what happens? The Kodiak's size would certainly give it a powerful advantage. A single swipe from that massive paw could break bones. Its sheer weight might be enough to pin a rival and crush them, but the Grizzly would bring a different kind of fire. Unrelenting ferocity, sharper reactions, and a combativeness that doesn't fade. Behavior matters too. Kodiaks, though dominant in their realm, aren't often challenged. Grizzlies, on the other hand, constantly defend kills, fight off wolves, and clash with other bears. Their mindset is different, their instincts more wired for battle. If the two locked eyes, circled and clashed, it wouldn't be a clean fight. There'd be blood, there'd be roars echoing through the forest, and it would come down to more than size. It would come down to stamina, willpower, and timing. So who wins? If the Kodiak lands the first devastating blow, the fight could end quickly. But if the Grizzly endures the initial charge, outlasts the power with technique and grit, then the tide could turn. Experts suggest that in most scenarios, the Kodiak bear would win due to sheer physical dominance, but not without a brutal contest. This wouldn't be a one-sided slaughter, it would be a clash of kings. A battle between two evolutionary masterpieces, and whichever bear limped away, bruised, bleeding but breathing, would have earned not just survival, but legend. Because in the wild, victory isn't about who's bigger, it's about who refuses to fall.